Hello, it's me, Richard Anthony Marca,
And hello, I am Victoria Leyva.
and this is the third upgrade video for our class for the Meals app. The first upgrade that we have implemented is the Meal Finder by ingredient, which it will have all the meals in one screen, and by typing in the ingredient you're looking for, it will filter the meals based off of what you have typed. It's in a new file called search, and it uses the meal providers and it filters it with a string query where whatever you put in that string will be what is being searched.
For our next feature, we have the Recent History tab. This basically displays a list of meals that the user have recently viewed. And if the user wants to go ahead and delete the list of their history view, then they have the option to do that on there. We added the Flutter Riverpod, the snack bar, the list view builder, and the widgets binding.
The last upgrade that we added was the checkable steps, where each step in the details screen are able to be checked off and turned green when they are tapped. Using the checkbox list tile and a check steps provider, we're able to have a toggle steps and reset steps, where the reset steps is when all steps have been checked, you tap it again and it resets it back to its original condition. So for the meal finder by ingredient, the first thing we did was create a new Dart file called search. It adds a new tab in the side that creates a new screen. And this new screen shows all the meals and filters the meals based on the ingredients that are typed in the text box. And when you select said meal, it takes you to the usual meals detail screen where it functions normally.
For our next feature, we have the Recent History tab, which displays a list of recently viewed meals for easy navigation for the user. And it enhances user interaction by allowing users to revisit meals they have previously checked. It automatically updates the list as new meals are viewed, ensuring the most relevant history is shown. And it provides an option to clear all recent meal history with a simple action.
For the checkable steps, instead of creating a new file, everything for this is done in the meals details Dart file that we already created. When the steps are tapped, it changes the text to green and checks the box on the right. After all the steps have been checked, it taps it again to basically reset all the steps. And the reason why we created this upgrade was because it helps people keep track of the steps that have been completed when cooking. And here is a demonstration of the app. So here it is similar to the original screen, but if we go and click the sidebar, you'll see that there is a new button called search. We click that, has all of the possible recipes inside the app. But let's just say I have a lot of veal and I want everything with veal. There we go, Wiener Schnitzel. If I click on that, it has 8 veal cutlets. Well, let's just say, oh, I have a lot of eggs. Well, if I do EGG, because the Wiener Schnitzels, as you saw before, had eggs, I click on the pancakes. The pancakes also require an egg. And the chocolate souffle also requires eggs, egg yolk and egg whites, but egg nonetheless.
So we then added a new recent tab. And if we go ahead and click on it, it displays a list of mills the user have recently viewed. The user also has the option to go ahead and clear their history with the trash can icon on the top right. It shows a little message saying history is clear. So if no mills have been viewed, then a message appears saying no recent mills view. So this feature basically allows the user to easily keep track of mills that they have looked at, just making it simpler and easier to revisit your favorite mills.
For the spaghetti, under steps, there are these boxes on the right to be able to keep track of the steps that have been done. So let's just say I cut the tomatoes in small pieces. I could click that. It has the check, and now it's green. That way I know it's done. And then I go to the next step, boil some water, add salt once it boils. There we go. I do this. I could click it again if I want to undo it. If I accidentally click put the spaghetti into boiling water and I didn't mean to, I could click that and unclick it. Or I boiled the water first and then I choose to cut the tomatoes, that's fine. But if you click these and you think, oh, I have to click them all over again just to undo everything, no, because once you click on the last one, you click again, it resets all of them. And if I go back, it saves it. That way, it keeps track of the steps I do if I'm actually cooking this meal. So under the main drawer, the filters and meals side also added the search, which is, if I go back, this is the meals, this is the filters, and this is the added search right here. If I go under the brand new search file, you can see the string, that's a query, and it's blank. But when you add things to the query under meals.ingredients, whatever you enter in there becomes the query. And the text has been set to white. Also has the images of each of the meals because it's just a list of what we have. But it does filter and search meals based on what has been seen.
So for the recent history tab feature in the tabs.dart file, we added the recent history screen and the recent history provider imported at the very top. And this basically enables the app to display the recent history page and manage the recent mills data. Next, in the switch case, for selecting the recent history tab, when a user selects the dirt tab, it sets active page to the recent history screen, which displays the recently viewed mills and updates the title to recent history. When returning the scaffold, if the recent history tab is active, an icon button appears when the user taps this button, and it calls the clear history method from the recent history provider, clearing a list of recent mills, and a snack bar message saying history clear is displayed to inform the user of the action. Down in the bottom navigation bar item, this code adds a new item to the bottom navigation bar featuring a history icon and the label recent. And this basically helps users easily to identify and select the recent history tab. Looking here at the mail details.dart file, we have first added the recent history provider imported at the top of our file, and this line imports the provider that manages the recent mails. This is very important for adding the current view mail to the recent history. Within the build method, the widgets binding instance add post frame callback basically indicates that the app will wait for the user interface to finish building before adding the mail to recent history, ensuring it shows up in the recent history tab the next time the user were to visit it. In this file, we define the recent history notifier, which manages the state of the recent mails list, and it starts with an empty list. And the add mail method checks if the mail is already in the list, and if not, it adds it to the states. This prevents duplicates, ensuring that users only see unique recent mails. And the clear history method allows users to clear all entries in the recent mails list with a simple call. We create a state notifier provider for the recent history notifier, and this makes it easier to access and update the recent mails state across the app. Last but not least, we'll be looking into the recent history screen.dart file. First, this new screen is specifically designed to show users the mails they have recently viewed, and it enhances navigation by allowing quick access to mail history. We check the list of recent mails from the recent history provider, and if there are no mails view, a message is displayed saying no recent mails view. If there are mails in history, we create a list view to display them. Each mail is shown as an item in the list, and selecting a mail can navigate the user to its details.
For the last upgrade that we have, that is all done under the meals details.dart file. So if we look under the widget build, there are two extra variables added: checked steps and checked states, which if you go down more, under this checked steps notifier, this checked steps is basically which steps are checked, and it is a Boolean for is if it's toggled or if it's not. And the checked state is so that it checks it when, if the states are checked, it does it in real time. Before I was added that, if I did the check steps, it wouldn't do it in real time. It would just look like this, and I would have to go back, and then it would update into this. But now I'm able to have it do it while it's in the same screen. So with the toggle steps, the reset steps is when all the steps are checked, like this. If you press it again, it resets them all. So then the Boolean of is checked. If it's checked, it changes the state index. And if it's not checked, it leaves it as blank. That is everything in this new update. Thank you for listening and watching this, and we will see you on the next update.
Yes, thank you so much for watching our video.
All right. Well, that was a disaster, but
Yeah.